Good evening, everyone. My name is Dave Strider. I'm a candidate for the office of U.S. Senator here in the state of Washington. I will be representing the people of Washington in the nation's capital. I am an independent. That means that I am not tied to the dogma of a political party. I listen to no one except the voices of those who elected me in my state. Again, my name is Dave Strider, and I'm an independent. It's your voice I listen to, and nothing else. I would like to also take this time, if I could, to mention that we have to be careful. If we are a progressive Democrat and we're running on the Democratic ticket, I know that we have this going on. We have an incumbent that I'm running against who is Democrat. I'm an independent. Many of the people that I've had the chance to meet across this nation, especially those here around my area, running in different congressional districts, they will be running up against incumbents who are Democrats as well. And from one of the news reports, and I saw it several times, and I believe that the DNC is purging the National Committee, the National Party, and setting the stage for an overthrow in another primary. We have to be vigilant, okay? We have to be vigilant. We have to get out there, and we have to make sure that our message is getting out there. We have to compare what we are saying to what they have said and have not done. And we're not taking any faults, pointing fingers at anyone, but they've had time. They've had time to get things done, and they have failed to do so. In fact, Democrats keep losing race after race after race. We need those progressive people that are lined up as Democrats, that believe that the party can be changed. They see the Democratic Party as something else, not what we have fallen into seeing with all the corruption in 2015 and 2016. These are young Democrats. They're firebrands, and they may be running as Democrats, but they are not Democrats in the sense of where the Democrat Party is right now and where it was a few years back. Okay, so let's think about them. I've had a chance to meet them. It's very important that we give them a shout out. It's important that we also support them, because the National Democratic Committee is not going to support them, and they're going to do everything in their power to discredit them. Everything that they can, and everything that they can for me too. I welcome the assault. I really do. Now you understand why I am running as an independent, because I do not accept the dogma of a political party. It's not that this person here is going to make sure that we keep getting nothing. The people that are in office right now, that were elected to represent us, to be our public servants in Washington, D.C., and to help the people here in the state of Washington, as well as other states, but here particularly in Washington state. We've seen a lot of lip service and a little bit of this, okay, and that's not enough. That is not enough. I saw a meme tonight about the ponies. One pony for the health care, 2 ponies, and we can have all those ponies. I mean, if you live like in a neighborhood where I do, there's no way you can have all those ponies. Okay, but you can have all those things that equal the ponies: health insurance, jobs, infrastructure. Yeah, we can have all those things. So I have some people that have shown up tonight. JJ, Larry, Jadapa, Judy, and hi, Larry. Good to see you. Lisa, and good to see you again, and thank you. I am marveled every night. People come in to watch and to contribute and talk about those things that are important to them. I mean, you hear me talking, and those are things that are important to me. And I know that some of you who come here virtually every night, those things too are important to you. And we have to know that we can approach those. We have to know that we can accomplish those. We have to know that we can achieve those goals. We have right now politicians that we're fighting against in this state who have received big pharma money, oil money, whatever kind of money, but it wasn't from you and I. They're paid a wage to represent us, you and I. And I guess they needed a little bit of kickback. If you're doing your job, congressmen, congresswomen, and senators, you don't have to worry about going out there and campaigning. Because when you come home on recess, guess what? In congressional districts, you'll be able to talk to your congressman or congresswoman. You'll be able to talk to them. The ones I know will be holding town halls, just like me. We'll be holding town halls so that we get to talk to you guys. Because we want to hear what you say. We don't need corporation money to get reelected. Okay? We don't need corporation or super PAC money or none of that. Yes, I support unions, but I don't need unions to make a bundled gift, you know, as far as campaign donations. Union members want to donate, they can donate. But, and if the unions endorse me, great. I mean, I support you guys all the way. I mean, we got to work together on getting these right to work states gone. Reverse that vote that many people worked on. We have to reverse that vote so that unions can bring safety to the workplace, stability, helpful in wages, and making sure that any benefits that the company may add. But here's another kicker. With universal health care, for one, guess what? We don't need to worry about that as part of a plan, employment plan. That right there cuts it down considerably, wouldn't you say? It makes it a whole lot different, okay? Also, by having that good health care, you know, we're going to be able to also redirect our systems into making the environment clean. We don't have to get overboard on it, but we clean up the sites that are messed up really super bad. We ensure that corporations can't come in and pollute our water. We stop fracking. There's supposed to be an exorbitant amount of oil available here in the United States. That means that we have to frack to get it. It's wrong. I saw an airplane today on the Science Channel, I believe, one of those channels, an airplane flying on battery power. So come on, people. It's not going to be long till we're going to have battery-powered flights, transoceanic, transcontinental. Let's embrace the future that is laying before us. Let's reap the rewards of saving our environment, and let's reap the rewards of full employment in careers, not jobs, careers. We talk about jobs all the time, but we need to be talking about careers. Isn't that what you go to college for? A career, not a job. It's because there's something that you're very adamant about, your field of study. It's not a job, it's a career. It's something that you aspired to, a career. not a job. And see, that's how I like to put these so-called employment packages together as career builders. A certain amount of the free market can actually build and help keep economy thriving, okay? With little or no government interference, as long as the owners of the company are playing by the rules. So often they decide they're going to be greedy. And by them being greedy, that takes away from the employee, that person who's dedicated their service to them. Maybe it's the only place in town, but it could also be something that they want to do, something that they feel like they're giving back to their community by being, one, employed there, doing their part on the environment, and all those other things that go with being a patron or a great contributor in the social well-being of your community, okay? You don't have to be a socialist to love your neighbor, okay? You don't have to be a communist to hate the guy next door. You don't have to be none of that. I think it's pretty well proof, you know, in the shootings that we've had. I have a comment here. Well, thank you, Larry. I appreciate that. And, you know, we've had talks before, you and I. Larry and I are from the same area of the country. And Larry comes from a good family. Father retired, and Larry's Navy, and I'm Marines. Right there we butt heads anyway, but Larry's a good guy. He's a conservative-minded individual, and I respect his opinions. And I appreciate what you've said tonight, Larry. I appreciate that. And he talks about corruption of the politicians, both in his state, Ohio, and in Washington. In it for the money, yes. And see, that's why by getting a group of people like we have running right now, these progressives and the independents like myself, but we're forming a major block. We have formed a major block and moving toward taking our country back so that the people can have the bounty of this country. I'm not saying we're giving everything away to them, but this nation could be in full employment. We could have the best highway system the world has ever seen. An all-weather highway system. I've seen them. I've seen the prototypes. They are fantastic. And you don't need diesel engines to power them. Okay? There's a lot of science out there. And we got to bring science back to the forefront. Yes, for those who are of faith, you know. I'm not telling you can't have your faith, but you're not going to shove it down my throat. Okay? I am a United States Marine and a United States citizen. I am a son of the American Revolution, and you're not going to throw your garbage down my throat. And I'm not going to let you throw it down anyone else's throat. I will stand up and I will fight you. I will call you what you are. If you're trying to enforce your religion on us, you are a bully. You are a heretic. You have no concept of the people. And because of that, you need to be censured if you are an elected official. And if the people elected you, if that's the way they are too, God help your district. Okay? So, I mean, you guys that are wanting to do all these evangelical things, not everybody subscribes to the same Lord and God that you do. Nobody prays. I don't pray to a Caucasian-faced Jesus. I don't bow down to any graven image. You want to keep your religion and keep your faith, then do that. Yes, you can have your missionary work, but when you start telling people, fear-mongering people with you're going to go to hell, instead of the love and the compassion of your faith, you are preaching hate. This nation has been ruled by fearmongers for a very long time. We have been in wars since our inception as a nation. And it's time that we stop spilling our treasure, not only on this soil, on this land, but lands afar. We cannot do that anymore. I don't want my sons and grandsons going and doing that for some rich 1% MF. Okay? Rich MF, come and see me face to face. But no, you have rows of guards. You have rows of people shielding you from the rest of the population because you consider yourself superior. You are not superior. You gained your wealth through theft. You gained it through murder, assassinations, intimidation. You are nothing but a thug, a common crook. And I'm speaking all to you in the 1%. And the 2% is too. Okay? If you don't want to be in that group, speak up. Speak up. Plain and simple. So, we have many things that we could do in this nation. We could have that health care, and Larry wouldn't be paying for it. No, Larry would only be paying for insurance that he uses with no preconditions. I'd be having my insurance the same as your insurance. But I thought senators and congressmen had really good Cadillac ones. Well, if I've got a Cadillac one, so do you. No pre-existing conditions. Small copay. When you're talking about dumping 350 million people into the healthcare system, you're saying, oh, there's going to be chaos. No, there isn't. It's as simple as your Social Security card. You're already in the system. And it only takes you to do one thing. Okay? Once that bill goes into action, all you have to do is show up at your doctor's office, or for some unforeseen, unfortunate event, the emergency room. Your Social Security number will get you the medical care and treatment that you need. Yes, there may be additional taxes. That's what people are talking about. But we'll talk about that later, okay? Do you know that your taxes don't really pay for anything? I mean, think about what people are paying in taxes, what the cuts are going to the 1% and to corporations. I want you to think about the amount of money taxation is coming in. Think about that. Because the money that's coming in, no way, shape, or form even supplies that defense budget that we have. $700 billion. With all the tax breaks and tax reliefs and tax givebacks, refunds or whatever, we are by no means gathering in enough taxes and services and fees to pay for that. And we try to blame it on our illegal immigrants. Well, I have a solution for our illegal immigrants, and Governor Inslee could initiate it very quickly. Okay, it's a little bit too late to get it on the ballot here, but he could do an executive order issuing state ID work permits from the state of Washington for every person in this state. Doesn't matter where you came from, but everyone in this state, issue them a Washington state permit. This permit helps them on a pathway to citizenship. Yes, they are going to have to pay every fee that they have. And because if they have no record, okay, any criminal record other than coming across the border or landing in the airport and not going back, there can be no stopping them. Their citizenship service begins right there. And they have a work permit. So it doesn't affect the economy here in the state of Washington. We still have the workers that we need in our agriculture. We still have the people in transportation and factories, in the warehousing, custom houses. We still have those people, but they are now paying taxes to the state. They'll be getting themselves a Social Security card. The state of Washington will apply for them a Social Security card. Now, how does the state of Washington, if they don't have a Social Security card, how are they going to take care of this person and the amount of money that they earned? Very simple. You get a state ID number, and when you're issued your Social Security number, that will, in fact, no longer be, but it'll be part of your record. But you'll now have your Social Security card, new Social Security card, a U.S. Social Security card, and you'll be in the system. But you'll have to apply for it. But you won't have to worry about ICE agents. You're going to have to pay fees too. That fee, I don't know how much it will be. Okay, there may be long lines at first until we're able to get enough people in the system to actually come and help process. But once you start that processing thing, it goes like, just be good, okay? Obey the laws. Those kind of things. Those kind of things right there. You'll come out. You'll be able to start your businesses. Okay? No one's going to lose any work. In fact, it's going to spur the local economies. Okay? Now we have some more people coming in. Amaron, Marjorie, and Marty, welcome, and hello, Marjorie. But we can take care of that immigration system, and we can start. It's going to be flooded at times, but once we are in the system here in the state of Washington, as long as you stay above the law and don't get involved in any activities, you'll be able to have your driver's license. You'll have your work permit. You'll be able to go to college. You'll be able to apply for state grants. But if education was free here in Washington State, like many of us have proposed and heralded to everyone, is that, one, we could have that local community college thing, going to school, a trade school, okay? And we could start training people for the different careers that they want to get into. The medical career is going to skyrocket, so we need to start gearing up for that. Like I spoke yesterday about infrastructure. Don't be building a whole bunch of new stuff and bringing in a bunch of new businesses and everything if you don't have the infrastructure to support it. And that means your highways, your streets, your sewer systems, your water delivery platforms. That's why we need, right now, if Tacoma and Pierce County, well, this particular part of Pierce County, the port here in Tacoma, we, instead of building an LNG plant, we need to build a saltwater desalination plant, high tech, really get it good, and an additional water treatment plant. Perhaps, make them very big. When I was at the Tacoma Council meeting the other night, and they did this reading, the biggest concern, there were people against it, there were people for it. And the people for it, I didn't hear, okay? I didn't hear anything about what you can do, okay? I've heard one candidate down at the port talking about those kind of things, okay? We spoke about her last night. But we need to take care of our infrastructure if we are to grow as a community. Has anybody driven down by Puyallup? Okay, have you driven down there? Have you tried to get through Puyallup or the other places that go outland a little bit, more of the rural areas that people seem to be gravitating toward? The infrastructure isn't even set up for it. The streets, oh yeah, you've got some 2 and 3-way streets. You've got some nice shopping centers, but it is a mess trying to get through there. Okay? It's a mess. Infrastructure first. Then you can start inviting in businesses, okay? And you don't have to give them any tax rebates. You start paying those property taxes right away, their business taxes right away. And it's not going to have to be outlandish, but think about the infrastructure. If you are a working person, okay, if you're a working person and you're out there on those roads, you spend maybe 1 hour getting there, 1 hour getting back. And if you're working 5 days a week, that's 10 hours of time that you've lost. You've lost a whole prime day. It's not worth it, okay? And the delays that we have on this mass transit project, light rail needs to jump on, get it on right now, okay? Start the acquisition and start laying down the infrastructure for that system. We can use eminent domain on First Peoples land like nobody's business. Why can't we do eminent domain here in Washington State, okay, and put in our light rail system? Oh, I get it. White people own the property. Okay? No, I'm sorry. You're either going to go green, you're either going to save the environment, or you're just going to talk about it. Okay? We're through with talking, ladies and gentlemen. We can't talk about it anymore. We need to move forward. Yes, there's going to be some unhappy people, but we're doing this moving forward. We're also going to protect the environment as we go. Every mile we'll be protecting the environment. We're going to make sure that we do not mess up any salmon runs. In fact, restore expeditiously those salmon runs that were damaged. Let the First People go there and start showing you and give them the management portion of getting that done. Not at their cost. We messed it up. The contractors that we hired, contractors that we paid, contractors that need to compensate the people of Washington now so that those repairs can be done. And these cost overruns, that's BS. Okay? No more cost overruns. If you have a cost overrun, the next bidder comes in. Plain and simple. You're out of here. We can't afford you skimming the people of Washington State. If you're going to bid on a project, you bid on the project. Think about what you're bidding on, please. That's all you got to do is think. Oh man, we could get this, we could really grow. But then you run into it 4 months into it, and you've got cost overruns because you suddenly have additional costs. Well, guess what? Your additional tooling up or gearing up or hiring up does not affect the price of the bid that you put in. You bid this, you will do that. And you'll be inspected every step of the way. And you'll have to repair everything that does not meet code. We are in earthquake zone. We are in a possible tsunami zone. Well, maybe not here in Tacoma, but if we had a major geological event, we might have one here in the Puget Sound. We could. I mean, think about the worst, prepare for the worst, and hope for the best. But always be prepared, okay? That's why I'm saying infrastructure before LNG. I don't want my rates going up for water. I don't want that going up. I think that they should wait, and there should be no abatements or tax credits or anything. But everything that they do, if they do come, every step of the way, every twist of the bolt, every pipe that's welded, inspected and tested Not just once, but several times, in case you missed a spot. You know, an LNG plant going off, with as much fuel as they're talking about. Does anybody know how gas works? I mean, compressed gas. I mean, it's a bomb, okay? It's not like having a 25-gallon gas tank on your truck or diesel tank on your truck. Now, we're talking about maybe 150, 200 pounds of gas in a container, maybe more, okay? And that goes off, it's just like a bomb. And if it's in Tacoma, they're on the flats or whatever is on the same side of that facility and across the water, or any ships or anything that's on the water within blast range, including flying pieces of metal, you're in trouble, big time. If all you get is your eyebrow singed, you're lucky. But don't count on it. Let's see what we got here. It is awful how we're treating our neighbor. Treating our neighbor. Which neighbor are you talking about? We've offended quite a few, Marjorie. Which neighbor are you talking about? I mean, part of my platform is, we can get it done. We can do it and we can be cooperative. But I'm going to tell you this right now. The way that you folks have done it for the last, well, let's see, 30 plus 17, almost the last 50 years, ain't cutting it. Okay? I've seen a lot in my time. You shove innovators away. You hide them. It wasn't your idea, so you don't want to hear it. Wrong. Wrong. We need to hear every idea, especially in this day and age. We have created so much pollution. I mentioned the other night about the island of junk, floating junk, trash, plastic, all kinds of stuff. I just left, I think I was flying into Taipei or I was leaving Taipei, and I was en route to go to, it was 2013, going to Thailand. And all I saw was this great, big, huge island. And I followed it for a couple of miles. Probably, you're flying at 350 miles an hour. So how many miles? 35 miles in 10 minutes? And it was a good 20, 30 minutes. This is in the South China Sea. We've got to do something about the pollution. We're destroying the environment. We kill the oceans. We kill ourselves. We kill the honeybee. We kill ourselves. We cannot afford to have any more species on this planet extinct. We can't. We're in the 21st century. We need to act like it. So how is everyone doing this Friday night? This weekend is going to be blustery here in the Puget Sound. It's also, I'm getting massive reflections from my glasses on how we're treating our neighbor. Well, I'm going to say here in the Puget Sound, we need to take care of our First People. I know that. We need to quit encroaching on their lands. I've told you this before. If I was First People and someone was doing to my land that was set aside through treaties by the U.S. Congress, I would consider that an act of war. I mean, that is international malfeasance on the United States part. And being the nation who issued that treaty, our Congress, we have done what? We have allowed corporations and local authorities do it. We've had the allowance of mercenaries. Nobody's going to jail. There's a lot of talk about prosecution, but I think that The Hague should issue warrants for their arrest. Plain and simple, and let them be tried on the facts. First of all, they encroached on sovereign nation territory. That right there was a violation. There's also reparations that should be made for all the destruction that this corporation did for the XL pipeline and all these other pipelines that are going through everywhere. I mean, get on a map sometime and look at all the pipelines that are crisscrossing this nation. A match in the wrong place, this whole place will be on fire. Look at it. Go ahead and look at it. Google petroleum, natural gas pipelines through this country and see what you get. Oh, and by the way, speaking of matches, my non-smoking mission is coming along quite well. I am down, I have cut 2/3 of tobacco out of my diet. Okay? And I say diet because my body was very hungry for nicotine. Okay? Bad habit. And for those of you who just started, stop. Okay? Stop, please. You need to stop. But I'm very happy that I am finally actually getting a handle on this nicotine addiction. I mean, yes, I do get anxious a couple of times during the day, but I'll grab myself a bottle of water. That seems to quench it. And with the water and the medication that my physician has prescribed to me, I think that the more it flushes out of my system, the better. The better. I'm breathing better. Okay? I might run a marathon in 4 or 5 years. Okay? Let's be realistic, okay, people? I'm not, you know, I had my days of physical activity, and I'd like to see how many more I can get. I'm an active person, don't get me wrong, but I'm getting over the cigarette habit. So for those of you who are wondering, that's the news on that front. Well, how many of you want to take off for the Friday night? I mean, after all, it is Friday. You might be able to go someplace and do some karaoke. There's some nice places here in Tacoma, all over the place. I mean, there's, I think, every nightclub, cafe, you know, suds and food. There's a lot of those places out there. And for the kids, you can always find those other places for the kids. What is it? I can't, Chuck E. Cheese, okay? Or you can go to the McDonald's, you know, just get some ice cream, okay? Ice cream, no food, just some ice cream. And then come home and have some carrots and celery and peanut butter. Plug in a movie. If you got kids, plug in a Disney movie. One that doesn't show a lot of violence, but there are some of them that do. Friday night, okay? Something to do with the kids. Something to do with your significant other. But I'd like for you all to start letting me know what's important to you. We have a progressive movement going on here. And what I understand, the DNC is purging their ranks of Bernie cracks and progressives. They want to go back to the same old, rake in those dollars in the super PACs. And I say, let them spend all of that money being defeated. We can do it, ladies and gentlemen. We can do it. Especially with these local races here. I mean, I missed my window for getting across the mountains. And so my activity here on the western side will be picking up here very soon, because our general election that we have here in November for our grassroots people, those who will, guide our local government, plot our direction, maybe with a desalination plant and another water treatment plant, and see that the people on the North Tacoma would be able to have the access to that. That'd be cool, wouldn't it? To have additional infrastructure there. Yeah, I think so. We could set a trend. We don't need fracking gas in our port. Okay, we don't need it. I mean, if you can switch to LNG, you can switch to electric. Simple as that. Tugs, handlers, whatever, bring those ships in. Yes, there's still going to be places that are on the petrol. But we can make those changes, ladies and gentlemen. We can make those changes. We can go alternative. And we don't have to affect the union workers. We can let the union workers continue maintaining and building that additional infrastructure. We need to think about our highways. We need to think about what we're going to do. We need to give those suggestions to those people who are running. We need to let them know, what is your idea? Is it feasible? I mean, you can pretty much talk about it and find out yes or no. Now, we can do video conferences here on Facebook. And we can go back and forth here on Facebook. And perhaps maybe we'll try that. We'll have it sign up and maybe try to get 10 people in on the Facebook photo. Maybe we can see how many we can get on that. And we can have a joint conversation. What do you think? I think it'd be fun. If anyone knows or is familiar with that, because I'm not, I've heard about it. If anyone's familiar with it, perhaps you could help set it up. Let me know. And if you're in the Washington area, Tacoma would be great. If you want to join me. That's right. Yeah, enjoy. Well, it all depends where you're at. Okay, but no matter where you're at, if you're in the state of Washington, you can join my campaign. Okay, we can start getting the word out. We can talk about how we're going to make it happen. If you're here in Tacoma, we'll see what we can do after the general election in initiating phone banks or door-to-door. Okay, we'll see what we can do. Let me know. Let's get it done. Now, let's see, we have some more people that have joined. We have Sandy. Hello, Sandy. We have Ray. Hello, Ray. How you doing? We have my uncle from Thailand. And also, who else joined? And Sirian. Good evening, all of you. Thank you for joining us. We've been talking about a bunch of stuff. We've been talking about infrastructure. We've been talking about health insurance. And some of the reports that I've heard, possibly here in Washington, our health insurance could go up 2 digits. That's why we need this single payer. This single payer. We can have it, ladies and gentlemen. We can have it. Our Congress and our Senate They know it too. The only reason we don't have it is because it's not appropriated, because they want to keep you where you're at. They want to keep drawing in big pharma dollars. They want to keep drawing in all that extra money from NRA, for big oil. They just want to keep getting it. How does a person in Congress serving you, or in the Senate serving you, doesn't matter where you're at in the country, but serving you, and they're multimillionaires? How does that happen? How does that happen? We're not on the gold standard anymore, ladies and gentlemen. We are not on the gold standard. Okay? When the Republicans took us off of that, our whole way of changing and financing this nation and the needs of the people changed as well. We are a sovereign nation. We are the wealthiest nation in this world. We have a gross national product in the 20s of trillions. We don't have a national debt. When you are doing public improvements, when it's public debt, we don't have any debt. Mind you, we don't. Don't let them kid you. We'll make that one of our discussion points some night, okay? Hopefully I'll have a guest on that same night as well. But we'll talk about that, okay? We'll talk about it. We have a lot of independents out there. We've talked about them too, for those of you just joining. And I'm progressives as well. And I am an independent. I'm Dave Strider. I'm an independent running for U.S. Congress here in the state of Washington. I do not belong or want to join any political party. If the independents started a party, I could not belong to it, because I want to be able to hear your voice, not the dogma of a party. The Republicans and Democrats and these other parties too have destroyed the American will to a point to where we don't care. Just vote here, vote here. And some of us not even vote at all. And for those of us who fight, we're called weird. Too much. No, you can't do that. That's too much. Well, I'm speaking of someone who understands the fact that we are the richest nation in the world. I don't know what we are afraid of. We have the largest military above the next 8 nations. Okay? Now, if we're above those, what about all those other ones, like Guatemala and these other countries? The greatest military in the world means that there is nobody. The next 8 nations could take us on. The whole world could take us on at one time. Our armed services are that big. The technology that we use is that great. I don't know why our nation is fearing the ones that we elected to guide us. I don't call them leaders because they are not leaders. But we let them believe that we are in danger. We are not in danger. We have so many weapons in this country. We have so many militia groups in this country. We have National Guard units in this country. We have military bases in this country. We have police that are armed like special forces. Police are to protect and serve, not advance and engage. That's for the military, boys, okay? Our military is a military. We need to repurpose it, help building our infrastructure. With Puerto Rico, and it's still in the it's still in the shit can. Puerto Rico is. We could have had something going on right then. As soon as that storm moved away, we could have had people in there. We could have choppers in the air, all-terrain vehicles. We could have gone in and made a difference real quick. The road is blocked, clear it. Your military people, clear it. Okay? You got the United States Navy sitting offshore with marine amphibious units bringing the stuff in, setting up fuel depots, maybe even going to the fuel depots that are already there and helping them. Helping set up generation in remote villages and towns. No, we could have done that a whole lot different, but we didn't because we have no leadership, none whatsoever. We have people the same way here on continental USA, still suffering from Katrina. And we just had Harvey go through, and Irma too. And we still got people suffering from Katrina. We got people suffering from Sandy. Get on the stick. But then again, guess what? In 2018, we have the opportunity, and I'm telling you, we have the opportunity to send a block of congressional people, new congressmen, new congresswomen, and I got a feeling it's going to be a lot of women, a lot of congressional women there going. And if the men were doing their jobs, the women wouldn't have to leave the house. But we have a bunch of spineless cowards there right now. So we got some women coming in there with the real pioneer spirit. They're coming in, and they're going to clean house. And you better not walk in once they've cleaned floors. You better not. You better not bring your garbage and your trash in. Some of them are mothers. And I'm a firm believer that if you want to keep your congresswoman happy, you better do the part that you signed up for, or bail. Okay? We're going to take a block in 2018. We're going to change the way we appropriate funds to run this country. The only reason we don't have money for Social Security, they talk about cutting Social Security or payments or retirement or this or that, Medicare. They're talking about cutting it, funding for public radio and television. They talk about cutting it. No, they're just not. What they've done is they have appropriated the same money that they have every year. Okay, they're still appropriating the same amounts, but they're not thinking about you and I. They don't care if we like PBS. They don't care. They don't care if we don't like losing net neutrality. They don't care. They can make a buck off it. Yeah. So choose your leaders wisely this coming November, whatever state you're in. But here in the Puget Sound, choose your leaders wisely at the port, your council members, your mayors, your commissioners, your sheriffs, your police chiefs, who's ever up for election. Okay? Vet them. Make sure that they are going to do the job that they're talking about. Okay? I wish you well, everyone, in the elections. We have it going on right here in Pierce County, and it's going to be exciting. Glued to the TV to see how many of the people that I wanted to be thinks it. We have some good people, but we're starting at the grassroots. But we got to make sure that we take and change these things, and the only way we can is becoming open. The only way we can do is say, hey, come on, we need your help. Join the fight. This is one that we can win, ladies and gentlemen. We can win this fight. We can win it, and we can change. Okay? Let me check I've got one other person that has come in. And Angela K. Torn has come in. Good evening, Angela. But we're getting down close to the end of the day. We're 55 minutes into the hour. Does anyone have any comments? Because I'm thinking about letting class out early. You know, I had an opportunity back in 2013 to go to Thailand and teach English to high school students. And I didn't get to do it, but I was in Thailand. I'll tell you that. I was in Thailand. All I had to do was go down to the place. But my new bride didn't want me to get involved in the education system. It's a beautiful place. And I'm glad she brought me back here, because we can make America beautiful again. Not as much pollution. Safer environment. Maybe my great-grandchildren will be able to drink from the creeks like I used to when I was a young kid. So, everyone, I want to thank you all for coming by tonight. I do encourage you and wish that many of you who show up every night, if you would private message me a comment, or even, you know, a mail here. I keep every one of them, okay? So I encourage you to let me know what's on your mind. Things that we can talk about. Things that are affecting us on a daily basis. Okay? That's what I want to know. I want to know what we can do to overcome adversity in our local areas, our state, our nation, our regions. Can we pacify men and women who want to work at a skill that they know, a trade that they understand and are proficient in? Can we keep them occupied while we plan our future? Desalination plant and water treatment plant, no LNG. Everybody's happy. As the city grows, the area grows. And we grow at a rate that we can actually control. We can actually bring in the technologies that will take us into the 22nd century. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm Dave Strider. I'm your candidate for U.S. Senate here in the state of Washington. I am an independent. I do not take corporate money, super PAC money, or bundled money. Hard telling where it's been, okay? It's your voice that I want to hear, not the dogma of some political party. It's your voice. That's why I'm asking for you to send me your comments, your thoughts. We're on Twitter. We're on LinkedIn, YouTube.com. Let's see, where's the other? Facebook. Yeah, we're on Facebook too. So have a great evening. I'll see you tomorrow night at 6. It'll be the last night of the Friday. Saturday night is usually the last night. Sunday, no broadcast for me. Also, there might be a special event, so tune in just in case. You'll be notified, for those of you who are following this, you'll be notified of this special event if it occurs, okay? And then we'll be back on Monday after Saturday. So good night. Be safe. I'll see you tomorrow. Thank you.